Hey, before we start the video, I just want to say do not harass anyone or the author. That's just not a good thing to do. Hey, I'm Kiyoshi, and for the past few weeks I've been reading webtoons, and if you've ever been on Webtoon, you may have encountered the famous webtoons called Boyfriends. I seen it while searching, but I never read it because of the ads I saw about it.
You want to talk more about it? No? Well, okay. You can just chill on my lap then.
Want hot chalky.
The ads I saw about it annoyed me, causing me to avoid it, which is counterproductive of what an ad is supposed to do. Now, normally I would have never read this webtoon, but the amount of hate on Twitter made me decide to start reading it. And before I read it, I wondered to myself, was it really that bad? So I got on Webtoon and I read about 60 chapters before deciding to make this video. And let me just say, I have a fair amount to say, positive and negative. Now, before I start discussing this webtoon, I'd like to clarify that I am a male who doesn't identify with any sexuality at the moment. I want to say this before starting because people of different genders and sexuality may have a different view than me on this webtoon. Remember, I'm just a single person who has their own views on topics, so feel free to agree or disagree with me. It's up to you. Let's start with the author first. Their name is Refern Bo, but they also go by Ray, which I'll be addressing them by. They mainly draw cute guys, which I say are very well done. They are very skilled artists, which is something that is often looked over due to their comic. The author has taken part in some dramas, but I won't be addressing them in these videos as this isn't supposed to be a focus on them. I will instead be focusing on their webtoon, Boyfriends. Now, let's go on through some background information about the webtoon Boyfriends. Boyfriends is ranked in the top 10, so that should give it a good idea on how widespread it is. Boyfriends is a romance slice of life that follows 4 different characters. The characters don't have names, but instead titles they go by. The first character is Goth. Goth is best described as a generic e-boy. He's a charmer and can basically pick up anyone that he wants to. Goth is also a trans man, which can be noticed in the Pride episode. The next character we have is Nerd. Nerd, as the title suggests, he is a nerd. He is the most ooh-woo and lustful, if you understand what I'm trying to get at. Prep, in my opinion, is the most basic. He's clingy, rich, and fashionable. Jock is also somewhat similar to Prep. He's simple and not too exciting. And if you notice, each one is supposed to follow a stereotype. In the beginning of the webtoon, the relationship is separated into 2. The first relationship starts with Goth and Nerd, and the other contains Prep and Jock. They become polyamorous after finding out that Nerd and Goth both had a crush on Prep and Jock. Soon after finding out that Prep and Jock had the same feelings, they started their polyamorous relationship. The webtoon doesn't follow a plot, but instead focuses on different events, with each episode having its own thing going on. Every few chapters, there will be characters that have opportunities to build or have character development moment or big events. It's a slice of life genre, so I won't be expecting too much of a plot to happen. Let's first start with some positive aspects about the webtoon. First, I'll be starting with the art. Let me just say, the artist, Ray, is very talented. The art is very cute and pastel, and they also have a good understanding of anatomy and color usage in their art, making the art more pleasing to look at. Even if a person were to dislike the author or the webtoon, I would at least want them to acknowledge the skills that the author has. Now, representation. It doesn't need to be said, but the webcomic has representation for polyamorous gay men. Representation is good. It helps people to be able to relate and connect. From what I've seen, there isn't much representation of polyamorous relationships in media. The only one that comes to mind is Demon Slayer with Tengen Uzan with his 3 wives. I'll be going over representation. I went over it in the positive aspect, but I still want to address some things in the negative aspect. I won't be saying too much as I am not polyamorous or am I sure of my own sexuality. Some people may find this story as fetishization of gay men and polyamorous relationships. The characters are overly uwu, making it seem like all, or at least most gay men act in a certain way. Now the characters themselves are very boring and are very stereotypical. That gives them no other character traits, and it makes them really shallow. It makes them easy to predict, and it ends up just making the story feel more plain. Another issue I have with the characters is that there is basically no growth done to the characters. There will be moments where you expect the characters to grow or change, but they remain the same and act the same way in the few upcoming chapters. One of the examples supporting me was a whole study section because of Nerd. In this section, Nerd is going through some issues as he is falling behind in his classes, and because of this, all the other boyfriends are notified of this. The boyfriends go through this whole arc of where they study and prepare for the finals. After this, you assume that Nerd will have a character development moment, but no, that does not happen. It comes and goes like nothing happens, which is sad because I was really hoping for some character development, even in a small way. Another issue I have is that it's overly cutesy and very ooey like. Now, I don't mind something that is cute, but there's a limit on how far you can get away with it. It stops being cute and starts becoming annoying. The most famous well-known dialogue
Want hot chalky.
is popular because of how cute and annoying it is. I know it's just trying to be cute, but people don't usually speak in this ooh manner. And when it stops being cute, it starts to become annoying. Anyone who has ever read the Webtoon Boyfriend knows about how sexual it is. In every few dialogues, one of the characters will say something overly sexual, act with sexual intent, or something in between. These two characters were about to bang out of nowhere. Why did this feel necessary to add? There is no significance but to add extreme emotions. If I had to guess, these moments were probably added to keep the story more tense and appeal to a set audience. So, here are my final thoughts and opinions on the webtoon. I do understand the amount of hate surrounding the webtoon's boyfriend is very ewish, and characters are very stereotypical, making them extremely plain. The amount of sexual jokes are also just annoying and not funny at all. But despite what I'm saying, people may see it as a positive and good aspect of the webtoon. I believe the set audience was supposed to be for those who enjoy reading BL mangas or stories. BL stories are usually more sexual, so this may explain the amount of sexual jokes within the webtoon. The uwu vibes were most likely done to still keep things cute and appealing to look at. Welcome to the end of the video. Thanks for watching my video, and I apologize for all the moments I said uwu. Feel free to like and subscribe if you want to support me. I completely understand if you don't want to after what I've been saying. If you want to see more of me, however, check out my Twitter where I say dumb stuff and mainly post my art. With that said, thank you for watching and see you in my next video.